What's going on, growers? It's James Bigioni coming to you live from Jersey. Today, I'm going to show you my own custom soil mix. This might be the one missing piece to you creating a super productive garden. Let's go! Let's get started with the ingredients we're going to need to make our own homemade soil. This stuff is going to be the best soil you've ever grown in, and I've been growing in my homemade soil for years. The results have been incredible, the harvests have been massive, and it's also going to be cheaper than going and grabbing bagged soil. And I'm telling you, this stuff will take your garden to the next level. We'll start out with what I call the base. So for a base, you could either use Coir, which is right here. This stuff is beautiful, it's soft, it's got a nice smell to it. The other option is going to be peat moss, which is right here. So peat moss. What I prefer to use is Coco over peat moss for a few reasons. So the first reason is because your Coco is going to be less acidic. The pH of your Coco is going to be about 5.5 to 6.8, as opposed to your peat moss. This one's going to be acidic. This is going to be a pH from about 3 to 4.5. So much more acidic than your Coco. And if you're growing plants that like a more alkaline soil, like your cucumbers or your cabbage, then you're probably going to want to add some lime to it to balance that pH better if you're using peat moss. Another reason that I prefer to use Coco over peat moss is because when you use peat moss, if you come in here, you'll notice it likes to sort of compact together. Like all the peat moss I put in here has become kind of one unit, where it's all compacted together like that. As opposed to the Coco, this is all separate, it's easy to move through, and that makes it easier for the roots to move through. You'll notice it's got some little stringy hairs in there too. That's really helpful to build soil structure. Another reason I like to use Coco over peat moss is its ability to retain moisture, but then its ability to also drain well. When it comes to your Coco, this, when it's completely dry, does a much better job of taking in the moisture and retaining it really quickly, as opposed to your peat moss. It does have good retention when it's wet, but when it's completely dry, it can almost become hydrophobic to the point of like resisting water. So if you allow your soil to completely dry out with peat moss, then it's going to be much harder to get it nice and wet again and to get it to the right moisture level. So both are options as a base. When it comes down to it, I prefer Coco, but I will also sometimes mix in some peat moss to our mixes. Just to keep things a little bit basic, we're gonna start with Coco for our base. Now we'll move over to the next ingredient. Before I get there though, I want to mention my favorite Coco is the Plantonix one. This is super high quality, really nice stuff, no salt or anything. It's a really good option. This is what I sell over at the shop because I believe in this product. Our next ingredient is going to be compost. Right here, I've got some mushroom compost. That's what I use for most of my mixes because I can get it locally. So when it comes to a compost, it's going to help improve our structure. It's got really good properties of water retention. It can hold water really, really well. It's also going to add some NPK, some of our macronutrients. It's going to add a lot of trace minerals and a lot of beneficial bacteria, microbes, fungi, stuff like that. So compost is another one of our really important additives and one of our main ingredients in our mix. There's a few things about mushroom compost that I want to tell you about. One is that when you get it, it might not be completely finished composting. So if you want to use it right in your garden, just be a little bit careful. The best thing to do when it comes to mushroom compost is to let it sit for a year. But if you don't have the option to, you can use it now. This is mushroom compost that I just got this year. I'm going to use it in my garden, but just keep an eye out for it because it could have some extra salts too. Another option would be to buy some compost from the big box store like Home Depot. I've tried their black cow compost before, but I found that it had so many sticks and things in it, so the price that I paid for it for what I got didn't feel worth it. When it comes to the mushroom compost, I can go to a place locally and I get a whole cubic yard for $70, and it ends up being a lot of compost, plenty to get a bunch of your raised beds filled. So compost is our next ingredient. Whichever one you use is up to you. You could also use something like vermicompost. It's just you're gonna need a lot of it. So when it comes down to it, getting a compost like mushroom compost is a good option. And if you wanna make your own compost, that's a good option too. But for our mix, we're gonna go with mushroom compost. Let's move over to the last ingredients we'll need for our soil mix. You'll notice there's only about 3 or 4 ingredients that we need. It's a basic mix, but it makes perfect a really good soil with incredible structure. That's mainly what we're going for at this point when it comes to our soil. The next ingredients are going to be vermiculite and perlite. They're both very different, and I really suggest adding both to your soil mix. Let's get into the vermiculite first. So when it comes to vermiculite, this is very light and it retains water very well. You'll notice this here. It's made from naturally occurring stuff found in the earth, so it's going to be all organic, all natural. And vermiculite will really help lighten our mix. If you think about it, if we did a mix and it was just, say, peat moss and compost, that can get really dense. So this vermiculite will help lighten the mix. That will make it easier for the roots to move through. Next, we have perlite over here. This is also natural. And your perlite is going to be just good for aeration and drainage. So the perlite really isn't going to hold any water, but it's going to be great to lighten up your mix, to get better drainage, and also to open up little pockets of air in your soil so that your roots can access that, because as we know, roots need oxygen to survive. So both of these are super important. They'll improve the structure of our overall mix, and those are the main ingredients. So let's actually get over to mixing. I'm going to be using the Coco Coir as my base. What I do is I take these bricks, I cut them open, and then I fill a tote with some water and let them soak for a little bit until they're fully hydrated. Then I take out the Coco Coir, put it in a bucket with some holes at the bottom, and let it drain out. When it comes to our mix, a super important part is going to be the ratios. This is going to be the ratio of our mix right here. So we're going to do 3 parts Coco Coir, so either that's Coco Coir or peat moss for you, 2 parts compost, which you see right here, and then half a part vermiculite, half a part perlite. So essentially our mix is going to be what I call the 3-2-1. Although these are halves, it does equal one bucket though. A cool thing about this is we're going to know exactly how much soil this is going to make, because we essentially have 6 buckets full here. These are the ratios that have worked best for me, and I've had incredible results with them. So I suggest you guys try out this mix. Let me know down in the comments how it works for you, but let's actually get into the process of mixing. We'll start out with some Coco Coir. I like to make sure I spread my Coco Coir and all my ingredients out as I'm dumping them. So there's one bucket. We'll grab this next bucket over here. Then we'll dump this one. Nice and hydrated. Make sure we get all of it out. Next, we'll grab our final bucket of Coco Coir. Dump that in. Now what I like to do is I like to grab my vermiculite and my perlite, and we'll put this on top of the Coco Coir and then the compost over top of it, because this stuff could blow in the wind sometimes. So we'll start with our vermiculite first, spread that pretty evenly. Perlite is next, and then we'll go with compost. So the compost I'm going to dump right over the top of that, just like this. Spread it out pretty evenly. And our other compost bucket. The compost is so heavy, really dense stuff. And next time what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start mixing this with a tarp. You'll notice I do everything on a tarp. This is my favorite way to mix. It makes it a lot easier to just get everything mixed together. I've had some people say you should use a cement mixer. Might be a good idea, but I have fun mixing the soil. I find it to be an enjoyable time. So next we're gonna grab our corners of our tarp and start folding them together to get this thing mixed. If you notice, you can see that little tumble we get. That's really convenient. One of the reasons I love the tarp. So we're gonna do this from all 4 corners. We'll do that from this corner over here. And then we'll flip this side a little bit. After I get that first flip, next I grab my rake. And don't make fun of me about the rake. This thing's seen better days. It's a little goofy looking, but it still works. Then we'll take our rake and just start spreading everything out. We'll move it all the way to the corners of the tarp like this. We'll help mix as we're moving. And if you wanted to do a bigger version of this, you can just double the amount. Go for the 6-4-2. But that 3-2-1 ratio, that's my favorite. So I'll spread it like this. We're already getting a lot of the stuff mixed together. And then after this, I'll do one more flip of all the corners. One there, this one here, this one here, and then this corner. All right, it's already starting to come together. The next thing to do is get in there. Well, what I like to do is get the thing mixed with your hands. There's nothing better than getting your hands dirty, getting the thing mixed, and I find that it's the best way to do it. So we're just gonna go through and get this all mixed together with our hands, just like this. What we're mixing together here, I'm calling it soil, but it's actually not soil, it's potting mix. In order for it to be soil, it would have to contain topsoil in it. This mix doesn't have topsoil in it, which is actually a good thing because topsoil can often have weed seeds in it, but this mix we're making won't have any weed seeds. So we won't have to worry about any weeds sprouting up after we get this into our raised beds. There we go, everything all mixed up beautifully. I want to show you guys what this soil looks like. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. Plants are going to love growing in this. Good retention of water. It'll be able to drain well, nice and light. Roots will be able to move through this so perfectly. And it's really great stuff. This is our base mix. I could take this and put it in containers. Plants will grow fantastic. Raised beds, plants will grow amazing. This is the mix I have used and I've got incredible results from this. This is just our base. The reason it's just our base is because the compost, it doesn't have actually that much nutrition in it. The mushroom compost is actually depleted because it's used to grow mushrooms already. What we're gonna do is take this mix, put it in our raised beds, then we could add, as our other base for nutrition, an all-purpose fertilizer. I always go with the JP Secret stuff, organic, natural. My favorite fertilizer. Obviously I put my name on it. And this is my favorite stuff to add. So we'll put this in the bed, which I'll show you. Then we'll mix in some fertilizer. And then based on what we're planting, we could make adjustments of if you want to add something else, like some blood meal. But this will give us the perfect base that we can add to any of our beds and then make those nutritional adjustments based on what we're planting. Another thing you could do if you want is if you're growing something that's more acid loving like tomatoes, you could switch out one of the Coco Coir buckets, 1 or 2, with peat moss because this is going to make your soil a little more acidic. That's just an option, whatever you want to do. But what we're going to do now is we're going to grab some of the soil, throw it in the buckets and start filling up a raised bed. We're going to take our soil and we're going to top off this bed. This bed last year sank just a little bit and lost a little bit of soil, so we'll top it off with some of our new soil. We'll just take this, probably take about 2 buckets, dump that one in. Two buckets should be good, and then dump this fresh stuff in, like this. Then what we're gonna do is we'll level it off just a little bit, like this. And then I'm going to mix this with my older soil, just so they all kind of come together as one new soil. So I'm just gonna go around and mix a few inches in to get it all together, just like this. Nothing too crazy. We got a dog singing in the background for us. Then we're gonna level this whole thing out really quickly. I wanted to do this live for you guys just to show you that it doesn't take a long time if you set yourself up right. And we're gonna even get to some planting. You can see how quickly everything can come together. So now that we got that all mixed together, next what I'm gonna do is, like I mentioned earlier, this could be depleted of some of our macronutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. To help with that, we're gonna add some of our JP Secret stuff, all-purpose fertilizer. You can really use any organic all-purpose fertilizer. I just prefer this one. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spread it on the top few inches of the soil, or the top inch, spread it on the soil basically, just like this. Just gonna go through. This is what's gonna really add our nutrition. And then everything and anything could grow in this. And then as we add plants, we can add another more specified additive or amendment. There we go. That looks good like that. Then I'm gonna go through and mix it in the top few inches of the soil. Just like this, very lightly. This will help keep it in the top part of the soil. That's why I like mixing in my fertilizer after. It'll be in the top part of the soil. Then every time we water, that fertilizer and the nutrition will just go down into the soil, help feed our plants, because that's where the roots are going. Just like that, perfect. Next, we're gonna get some lettuce planted. So I always plant everything in the square foot method. You see I got these nice Vego seed cells right here. I'll take my board, this is exactly 1 square foot, just drop it down. Then I'll outline my board to give me my 1 square foot, just like that. And we plant 4 lettuce per square foot. I'll make a hole with my finger, grab my lettuce, pop it out, and I won't just drop it in yet. What I'm gonna do is take some mycorrhizal inoculant and add that to my roots. This helps get the mycorrhizal association, which helps with transplant shock and overall growth. It's a really easy thing to add, and it makes a big difference. Then we'll drop 1 lettuce in. We'll do this quickly. Grab the other lettuce, drop this in. Just want to show you how quick and easy you guys can do this stuff. Next one. That, and it's a beautiful looking lettuce, isn't it? Healthy looking plants. This is what happens when you start your own seeds at home. I've got a course on exactly how I start my seeds. You guys got to check it out. It'll make a big difference for you. You'll learn a lot of tricks, and then also you'll end up with great healthy seedlings that look just like this. So we already added that all-purpose fertilizer, but we're growing lettuce. Lettuce we grow just for the leaves. We're not growing it for the fruit or the root, which means it will benefit a lot from some added nitrogen. To help with that, we'll just take some blood meal. This is basically pure nitrogen. It's a 1200. We'll take some of our blood meal, see right here, and we'll just sprinkle it around our lettuce. Let's get a little bit more. Sprinkle a little bit more. It's like this. Then we'll mix that into the top few inches. Now we have the all-purpose fertilizer to give us a good nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Then we have the blood meal to add an extra layer of nitrogen to speed up that growth and to let it give it everything the plant needs. The last thing to do is just take this and water everything in. Just like this. There we go, beautiful. Planted in our brand new soil, these things are going to explode into growth. And the convenient thing about making soil like this is it's ideal for direct sowing. Everything can push up easily through it. It's perfect for transplanting, and it's just great all around. So this right here, this is going to be a basic mix, and it's focused mainly on soil structure. Then if you want, you can do what I do and just put this in your bed and add some all-purpose fertilizer. When doing that, I get incredible results. That's how I basically grow everything, and things do really well. But if you want to go for a more advanced mix, use this as the base. Then you could add some of your own amendments, essentially whatever you want to add. There's a lot of different stuff you can add. If you want, you could add something like biochar. This is one that people really love adding. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I still think it works pretty good. You could add some earthworm castings. That would be a great option in this mix. Earthworm castings are fantastic. You can also add something like a kelp meal, good option. You can add some neem seed meal, some fulvic acid, which is a good choice, and then even some seaweed extract. These are all different things you can add. There's a host of different stuff, green sands, and if you're growing things that are more alkaline, you could add some of the lime like we showed. But if you want to keep it basic, keep it simple, this is an incredible mix, and I'm really happy with the results of it. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. I truly hope you take the time to try to put this mix together and then grow your food. Get back to me. Let me know your results, because after doing this for years, this is the only way that I really like to grow, because it may be a little bit more of an investment up front, but you get incredible results. So actually becomes more worth it, because the dollars you do invest, you get more back from them. And if you can get a order of the compost like I do, get a yard at a time or something, it actually becomes cheaper than buying bagged soil, and you're left with all the good stuff. You don't get all those negative fillers that come with bagged soil. I wanted to send a thank you to one of our new channel members, Karen White. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. You guys got to join the team. Check out our community over at teamgrow.us, where there's, I'm pretty sure over 1,000 of us that are on there, that are posting things, that are reaching out to one another, that are helping one another to be able to grow as much food as possible. When we work together as a team, there's nothing we really can't do. The amount of knowledge and experience and information we have when we all come together is super valuable. So it's a great option to be part of that team. It's free to do. Check it over at teamgrow.us. Also, all the things that I'm sharing with you, especially our base mixes, we sell them over at the shop. And the reason I sell these things is because this is what I've always used, and I found it to work very efficiently. And I reached out to those companies and said, we want to work with you guys because we think you're the best. So that's what we sell in the shop. This is stuff that I use in my garden. So if you want to make some good soil, it's a great option to check out a lot of this stuff at teamgrow.us. And we have things bundled together for you to make it easy to know exactly what you need. Overall, this is like one of those videos that I really love to share, and I've shared it many times in the past, but I want people to try this mix out because I really think that it will bring them to success, especially if you had issues in the past. I really think that, you know, a good soil is going to be one of the main foundations that leads to healthy plants. And if you check out the course I made, if you can have good soil and healthy plants, I mean, you're almost guaranteed a good harvest as long as you protect it from the pests. Had a blast. See you guys on the next one really soon. We